How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Every Brand Breakdown. We're going through the alphabet A to Z, every letter, and breaking down a brand for each letter of the alphabet. Right now, we're on the letter G. We're going to be going over the company Gregory. We'll go over a little bit about what they are, a little bit of the history, parent company, sister companies, check out their website, look at what's going on eBay, what's going on Poshmark, some of my experiences with the company. We'll take a look at one of their products under the microscope in the lab. We'll come back, look at the warranty, and then we'll wrap up the video. And hopefully, you guys will pick up some tips and tricks along the way about this brand. We are here on Gregory's current website. The company was started in 1977 by this dude named Wayne Gregory, hence the name Gregory. And he was making internal frame packs known as Gregory Mountain Products in San Diego, California. He had an endeavor in the 70s before Gregory backpacks. It was another company called Sunburn making external frame packs. So if you saw some vintage external frame pack that said Sunbird on them, it may be something very, very rare for a vintage outdoors sporting goods collector. And it could be worth some good money. I didn't see anything on eBay, so it's probably a very, very rare item. Anyways, Wayne Gregory, he built the company up. Eventually, he was contracted in 1999 to make a really awesome spear backpack for special forces, and I think this is an example of it right here. This is one of the contracted spear bags with a 120-pound carrying capacity. Pretty cool. In 2010, they merged with this other company called Black Diamond. You may or may not be familiar with them. It's a climbing company. And then in 2011, 2014, Black Diamond and Gregory was bought by Samsonite. So now it's actually a Samsonite company along with sister companies like Toomey, Hartman, American Tourister, Samsonite. So Samsonite is like a big player when it comes to luggage and bags. So hopefully that's a little interesting. Samsonite's not traded on the U.S. market. It's traded on the Hong Kong market for whatever reason. So we're not even going to look at the stock. Let's look at Gregory's website. They primarily make backpacks. They're very adventure-y, backpacky. They also make day packs. And I believe they make some luggage. Let's see. Yeah, they have some rollers. So we'd consider that like airplane luggage. And it's really not that bad. $250, $200, which is kind of crazy. You would think that a roller would be a lot more expensive than just like a bag. Like here's a bag, 240, and here's a roller, 250. There's a kind of look at what they make. I know them primarily for backpacking bags. This is like backcountry stuff where you load up what you're bringing with you and you're going camping for days. Yeah, these like 6 nights. You just keep going. So check it out. Here's some of their 95 liter, 80 liter. These numbers right here are the amount of liters of carrying capacity. So Baltoro 85 would be an 85 liter bag, Baltoro 95 liter bag. And that's kind of how they measure backpack carrying capacities, is in liters. It's a volume measurement. So that's very important when listing or describing the bag, is figuring out like the liter capacity. The Denali 100, that's their big bad boy. It's $400. Craziness. That's primarily what they make. It's a bag company. They're getting into hydration packs a little bit, but I don't think those are going to be as expensive. Yeah. So the bladder's 20 something bucks, and then something containing a bladder, still maybe in the low $100 range. They are carried at REI stores, so I call them REI companies or REI brands, even though they're not owned or anything by REI. REI just sources their products because they sell well with the outdoors community. And something interesting about Gregory that I did want to touch on is that there is a vintage following for Gregory in Japan. And this Rakuten website is a site that I use sometimes just to kind of get a gauge on a Japanese market. Gregory is followed by some Japanese collectors. I remember when I was in Japan, I saw a magazine specifically on Gregory backpacks, collecting vintage Gregory backpacks. And if we look up vintage Gregory logos, so here's one of their older logos, Gregory Mountain Products. That one's from 1983. And then this is from 1994, this logo, but it doesn't mean it's only from 1994. It doesn't mean this is only from 1983. But they carried that logo throughout some of the 90s. Might help you with dating the bag if you were to find it. Because there is a vintage community for Gregory in Japan. The company has some history going into the 70s. There are some collectors that might just want the bags, or for whatever reason to use, or to just have the history collection. So we're going to go to eBay, look on their marketplace. We already typed in Gregory. We're going to go to sporting goods to kind of sort it down. Only 321 active listings, and they are almost entirely backpacks. We are looking at pre-owned. Price plus shipping highest first. It's going to be those big, the Denali. The Denali backpack, man. It's an older one with that older logo. Here's another one with the older logo. I want to say they used this logo until just about a few years ago, because I remember I had a Gregory backpack, maybe 5 years old, and it had that same logo on it. So I'm not entirely sure when they changed the logo, but that's an old logo, and then this right here looks like a new logo. Just FYI. Yeah, the bigger packs you're going to be able to sell within the $100, $200, maybe even $300 range. Here's an old frame pack. This is what I was talking about earlier when I said that company Sunbird makes frame packs. That is a frame pack. You can see the external frame of the bag, and the internal frame packs, or the internal, yeah, they call them internal frame packs. It looks like this, where it's built into the bag itself. You can't really see. It kind of goes down the spine. It has an internal frame, but it still has structure. Well, let's look at completeds. Completeds, 433. Solds are 318. That brings us to about a 74% sell-through rate. Ignore this pool table. But check it out. The price plus shipping highest first was an 80s internal frame Gregory backpack, sold for almost $300. There's an old logo. Totally looks 80s. The straps, the color, everything looks 80s. They still called this one vintage. So even though it's got that squiggle, that the way that Gregory is spelt out would differ a little bit from maybe the newer bags. Yeah, this one says it's from 96. So it's got that Gregory squiggle mountain. There's a modern one sold for $210, $150 for this vintage one. Yeah, the vintage ones are going to be sleepers. And essentially, like, the smaller the bag gets, they're going to get a little bit cheaper. Maven 45, so that's a 45 liter. This is 65 liter. This is a very cool day pack, and it sold for $100. It's got really, really cool graphics on it. Looks like an 80s bag. So cool. Oh, they said vintage 90s, whatever. But you know it's just vintage, and then you're going to post it. Who knows? They might not even be right. It might actually be 80s. I'd say it's equal or maybe a little bit higher than Eagle Creek. And yeah, most people are not disappointed by their Gregory bags. Let's take a look at Poshmark. One of the Poshmark solds. One sold for $200, a Gregory 75 liter. This was brand new, sold for $200, brand new. Here's a used one, sold for $170. So there is a Poshmark market. Maybe not as big as eBay, especially for the vintage stuff, because you want that international exposure when you're doing vintage stuff, and I don't think Poshmark does anything internationally. So let's check all this out. 70 for a backpack, 70, 68. So yeah, they are selling on Poshmark, and you probably, if we go to not sold, could get a good deal on. Probably could get a better deal on one than on Poshmark than you could on eBay, just because. Let's go price low. And Gregory lightweight packable day packs, $15. And the cheapest actual backpack is still $45. So yeah, they hold their value pretty well. They're good bags. So that's a quick look at the Posh market. Now I'm going to show you a bag in the flesh. All right, into the lab we have a Gregory bag. This flap right here. Look at that. Gregory probably from the 2010-ish era. Whenever you get a bag, you're going to want to check to see if it has the top that covers the drawstring the way that the bag is made. So it's a big drawstring compartment, and then there's this top flap that when you buckle it, it closes it nice and securely so nobody could get their hands in there, and it kind of protects it from the rain and stuff a little bit. Most of the bags will have some sort of indicator of the model on the outside, especially the newer bags. As we can see right here, embroidered Z55, and on this flap also Z55. And sometimes these will be missing. You always want to be checking for that. Another thing you're going to want to check is you want to check to make sure none of your buckles are broken or missing. So this is our waist strap. Here we have the contour aeration. This one actually is called Jetstream LTS, so that's something we could put in the description, or we could Google to figure out exactly what Jetstream LTS is, because that might be something that somebody wants. You're also going to want to check the inside for liner material that's breaking down. Sometimes they will warranty it, sometimes they will not. It's worth a try. If you find one with flaking material breakdown, you might be able to make a claim and they would replace or fix the bag for you. Also on this specific bag, if you can see this flakiness right here, this front zipper, it was coming off like this, but it came off so much to where the zipper was no longer tight, like it was coming off separated from the material. I sent this specific bag to Gregory. They sewed it back in just like that, fixed it, made it perfectly usable. I think I had to pay for shipping, but they took care of it. No questions asked, no receipt or anything, and just sewed it in just like that. Another thing on the bags you're gonna wanna look for is a size indicator. You see this little tab that says L on it. That would make it a large. And then based off of the colors and then the size of the bag, you'd have to kind of determine if it's a men's or a women's bag. You might be able to find some measurements online that would help you figure out if it's a men's or women's bag, but I can tell you right now this is a men's large, and just in case you wanted to know, the torso measures about 21 inches and the whole frame of the bag is about 24 inches long. It might look intimidating at first, but all of the straps go to a designated place. They all have a purpose. So the bag can be filled with gear, or gear can be strapped onto it. Oh yeah, you want to check for rips and holes. Take all the information you can find on the bag, plug it into Google, look on Google Images search, and try to find your exact bag. Google, we're going to type in Gregory Z55 and look at their Z55 bags. I know this one's older. Not exactly sure how old it is. That kind of looks like it though. That looks really close. Yeah, that's it. That's the zipper right on the front. Now we want to go over the Gregory warranty. They have a lifetime guarantee, but they have a bunch of fine print like abuse, improper cleaning, storage, normal wear and tear, which pretty much covers like anything other than like a zipper or a seam breaking on it. But I have a personal experience with a Gregory warranty claim. I had the zipper, as I showed you guys earlier, that was breaking. I made a claim. I sent it to them. They sewed it all back up good. Hopefully you guys learned something from this video. If you haven't already, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions about Gregory or any brands you want to see broken down, please put them in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye.